Great Pyramid of Giza, a magnificent monument more than 4,500 years old. According to official history, it was built by Pharaoh Khufu. Yet, the traces found inside and around it cast serious doubt on this account. What is the basis of this version of the past? Does official history truly possess solid evidence for its claims? Stay with us. What you are about to discover may shock you. In 1837, British military officer and aristocrat Howard Vyse arrived in Egypt, driven by a desire to uncover the origin, purpose, and legacy of the Great Pyramid of Giza. He was backed by the powerful support of influential circles in Britain, elites eager for archaeological fame at any cost. However, after months without results, the pressure became unbearable. Academic societies, private sponsors, and even the Masonic circles to which Vyse belonged demanded a sensational discovery. Faced with this, he resorted to extreme measures, using explosives to break into the pyramid's internal chambers. Shortly thereafter, he made the discovery that would forever mark his name. In the so-called relieving chambers above the king's chamber, Vyse found red hieroglyphs, inscriptions bearing Pharaoh Khufu's name. These became the first and only direct evidence linking this ruler to the Great Pyramid. Yet, what is particularly intriguing is that no other record or artifact was found within the entire pyramid to indisputably confirm that Khufu was its builder. Interestingly, these signs, along with the so-called worker graffiti, appeared unusually fresh when Vyse discovered them. This unusual freshness became the main reason for later doubts that the inscriptions might have been falsified. Skeptics argued that the color was too vivid to have survived more than 4,000 years, and their location in hard-to-reach areas further fueled theories that Vyse, under pressure from sponsors and the Freemasons, may have left the marks himself to link Khufu to the pyramid with some hidden agenda. The greatest irony lies in the fact that Samuel Birch, an Egyptologist at the British Museum and the first person to translate these inscriptions, was also their loudest critic. Birch acknowledged that Khufu's name was among the inscriptions, but highlighted something striking. Certain symbols appeared unusual, deviating from the known style of Egyptian writing from the Old Kingdom. In other words, even Birch questioned their consistency and authenticity. Yet, Vyse's reputation and the weight of the British archaeological elite prevailed. The inscriptions were accepted as evidence, although doubts remained. But have we ever seriously asked what Arab historians say about the pyramids? Their origin, hidden secrets, and the role they were believed to play through the centuries. What did those who were born and raised in the shadow of these magnificent structures know, whose understanding and traditions existed long before any European record? The first Arab writer to mention the pyramids was Ibn Wahshiyah in the 9th century in his work Kitab Sharh al-Mustaham. He said, "The pyramids were built before the flood to serve as repositories of knowledge, books and treasures that their builders feared might be lost or destroyed. They contained knowledge of astrology, medicine, chemistry, and other ancient sciences. A great figure built these pyramids to preserve what humanity had acquired in knowledge and wealth before the flood." One of the earliest Arab historians and geographers, Al-Masudi, in the 10th century, in his renowned work Muruj al-Zahab, The Meadows of Gold, describes Egypt and its monumental structures, writing, "The pyramids of Egypt, among the most famous constructions in the world, were built by ancient kings. According to tradition, they intended to store their bodies, treasures, and everything that might be needed by their successors. It is said that wise men ordered that all knowledge of arts, scripts, and laws be preserved within them, so that it would survive even after the Great Flood. Inscriptions and symbols on these constructions still testify to the learning of those who built them. Their size, durability, and strength surpass everything else humans have created elsewhere." Many scholars claim that these monuments were built before the flood by order of King Surid ibn Salhuk. Within the pyramids are secrets and treasures, places with water like pools, wondrous devices and talismans set to protect what lies within. It is said that King Surid had a terrifying dream. The earth overturns, stars fall, and people panic seeking refuge. Interpreters saw this as a sign of the impending flood. He then commanded the construction of the pyramids and ordered that all human knowledge and wealth be stored within them. On their walls, he instructed depictions of the stars and planets, together with the skills and instruments needed to use them. These monuments, it is said, remained untouched for centuries until the beginning of the 9th century, when Caliph Al-Ma'mun heard stories that the Great Pyramid was full of immense treasures. Eager to discover them, in 820 he ordered a tunnel to be dug through the northern side of the pyramid, as the original entrance was no longer in use, probably buried or forgotten. But what his men found was not what they expected. Instead of gold and valuables, they discovered only human remains, a few scientific artifacts, and inscriptions whose meaning no one could interpret. The vast treasure they had heard of was nowhere to be found. After this, interest in entering the pyramid waned, and the pyramids remained in silence, as they do today. One trace of Al-Ma'mun's expedition remains, his dug entrance, through which all visitors to the Great Pyramid still pass. Centuries later, the most famous Arab historian of the 14th century, Ibn al-Maqrizi, known as the Arab Herodotus, records a fascinating story in his work, Al-Kitab. Some say the pyramids were built by King Surid ibn Salhuk, and that it was before the flood. Maqrizi adds that most Arabs did not believe that the pyramids were built by the pharaohs, but that they were constructed much earlier, before the Great Flood, to preserve the knowledge, wisdom, and treasures of humanity. He also reports the tradition that King Surid might be the same as the ancient Enoch, or Idris, a prophet mentioned in both the Bible and the Quran. At this point, Al-Maqrizi adds, "And some say Surid was Idris, the messenger of God, peace be upon him." According to Islamic tradition, Idris, peace be upon him, was the first man to write with a pen and teach writing. He invented the loom, possessed extraordinary knowledge of astrology, chemistry, and physics, as well as many other sciences that may even today remain largely unknown. Al-Maqrizi further writes in Al-Khitat, "Some believe that the first Hermes, called thrice great because of the 3 gifts he possessed, prophecy, kingship, and wisdom, is the same as Enoch, son of Jared, son of Mahalalel, son of Fatijan, whom the Hebrews also identify, and who is also Idris. According to the positions of the planets, he predicted the coming of the flood that would cover the earth. Therefore, he built many pyramids in which were stored treasures, books of science, and everything he feared would be destroyed and lost from the world. He wanted to ensure their safety. It is also said that the builder was a king named Surid ibn Sahluk ibn Syriac. Al-Maqrizi thus suggests the possibility that Hermes, Enoch, Idris, and Surid could all be names for the same figure, an ancient being who preserved humanity's knowledge and warned of impending catastrophes. Interestingly, the name Surid appears to be a perfect anagram of Idris, which many Arab historians agree upon. He adds, "All sciences known before the flood were first taught by Surid. Fearing the loss of knowledge, he built the pyramids and temples of Upper Egypt, engraving within them descriptions of science, crafts, and alchemy so future generations could continue." According to this view, the pyramids were not merely tombs. They served as stone libraries and repositories of knowledge, preserving the heritage of all humanity, and the inscriptions on their walls attest to this. One such inscription, as Maqrizi records, reads, "I am the one who built these pyramids. Let anyone who calls himself a mighty king try to destroy them. for destroying is easier than building. How were the pyramids actually built? Al-Maqrizi says that the stones were transported from distant mountains, usually from the east of the Nile. Some sources claim a special Nile canal was used to float the massive blocks to the construction site. These blocks were so enormous that they resembled detached hills from the mountains. The pyramids were erected using these massive stones, and the methods of manipulation were described as seeming like magic to later generations. Al-Maqrizi reports, according to tradition, they carved special figures on copper, and when a stone was placed on them, it would move by itself to the intended location. This describes how, according to belief, the Egyptians moved and lifted enormous blocks. Copper plates with engraved symbols and figures, combined with spoken incantations, allowed the stones to float and be placed precisely. Separately, astronomical records, positions of stars, dates, and cycles were engraved within the pyramids. These did not aid in lifting stones, but preserved knowledge of celestial bodies and time cycles for future generations. Al-Maqrizi concludes that the purpose of all this was to save knowledge and humanity's heritage from the coming catastrophe, the flood and fire. Later generations could not fully understand how the pyramids were built or all they contained. According to tradition, Surid instructed priests and wise men to devise a method for lifting the massive blocks. They created talismans. Symbols and figures were engraved on metal plates. When a stone was placed on a plate and special words were spoken, the stone lifted and floated until it reached its intended position. Al-Masudi, in his 10th century work, Muruj al-Zahab, similarly states, "The Egyptians say that the pyramids were raised using talismans and mysterious forces. The construction was overseen by priests and wise men, using their knowledge of the stars and natural forces. They made devices and means to move enormous stone blocks without the need for animals or human strength, relying solely on the power of the knowledge they possessed." It is crucial to note that the three main pyramids of Giza are precisely aligned with the three stars of Orion's belt. Considering Earth's precession, the slow, circular movement of its axis over a period of approximately 25,920 years, the position of stars shifts gradually over millennia. This suggests that the pyramids could have been aligned with Orion's belt approximately 10,500 to 12,500 years ago, hinting at the remarkable knowledge and skills of their builders, as well as a possible much greater antiquity than traditionally accepted. The Great Pyramid stands as a multi-layered enigma, officially the work of Pharaoh Khufu, or perhaps the creation of the ancient sage, whose secrets are yet to be revealed. This raises profound questions. Did Howard Vyse act on orders from the Masonic Lodge Pelopar, carrying out a secret mission? Did Vyse, guided by his fellow lodge members, deliberately misdirect history? If the pyramids are truly repositories of knowledge, and Freemasons are known to hide knowledge, artifacts, and discoveries from the rest of humanity, what knowledge might Vyse have discovered and taken with him? Could the illustration of the pyramid on the US dollar, a symbol of knowledge and power, relate to some hidden meaning or discovery intended to shape a new world order? These are questions still trapped in the mysteries that have yet to be unraveled. The question remains, who truly built the Great Pyramid? A pharaoh or an ancient sage safeguarding knowledge for future generations? The pyramid still stands, silent, mysterious, and challenging, keeping its secrets deep within the stone heart of the desert. Judge for yourself what is true. If you enjoyed this video, like it and subscribe to the channel, because the story has only just begun.